Good evening, St. Louis, and welcome into the Billikens Central postgame right here on STL Sports Central. I'm Matthew Rocchio. I'll be joined later on by the legend in the flesh, Bob Ramsey, the voice of the Billikens, about halfway through this postgame to lead us into the promised land and finish this thing out. But until then, you're stuck with me, and we're talking about another Billikens win, the fourth time that they have gone over 100 points this season, and they absolutely rolled Bethune-Cookman in this game, 112-53. And right out of the gate, as we do in every single one of these post games, we got to tell you that this Billikens Central post game is brought to you by our business banking partners at Home Bank. From business lending to everyday banking, Home Bank has been with us since day one as a trusted partner. Business isn't just about numbers, it's about relationships. And with Home Bank, those relationships make all the difference. Home Bank is the team behind our team at STL Sports Central. You can visit them at myhomebank.bank. That's myhomebank.bank, or you can give them a call at 855-577-2001. And of course, they are our sponsor of our money moment of the game. When did this game change for the Billikens? When did things shift for them? It was pretty early. It's kind of hard to pinpoint a spot exactly when this game shifted because they were rolling big. So I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to go with Trey Green early and often from deep tonight for the Billikens, and that's why we're going to hone in on Trey Green's second three of the game that gave the Billikens a 15-4 lead. Again, he gave them an early 5-2 lead with his first three of the game, then a 15-4 lead just a few minutes later. He also pulled up with a steal at that point. I know we talked about the increased defense from Trey Green at times last game. He had two steals that really turned that San Francisco game. He comes away with an early steal tonight against Bethune-Cookman, leads his second three of the night. And again, 15-4 for the Billikens. They go up 11 early, and they never looked back from that point on. They eventually win this game by, 49? We're going to look at 112-53 win, and they were right on the edge of a lot of records tonight. 112 is 4 points off of the Billikens record against a D1 opponent. 116 against Chicago State back in 1993 is what we're looking at for the program record. The last time they scored 112 was in 1995. So almost my entire lifetime that we're looking at the Billikens. Last time they did that against a D1 opponent, and this time they do it against Bethune-Cookman. Again, 112-53. Trey Green, the big scorer for the Billikens. He was all over where he needed to be. He was everywhere for the Billikens. He comes away with a game-high 19 in this game, goes 5 for 8 from deep, and the Billikens put 7 scorers in double figures. There's been multiple games this year where they've put in 6. But I don't think there's any point in this game where they've put in 7 players in double figures. Absolutely incredible. Again, Trey Green leading the way, but everybody was following him. In fact, as we're talking about double figures, the crazy thing is the only player not in double figures as a non-freshman tonight for the Billikens, Robbie Avila. And I know some people are going to say, man, he's not dominating these games, but he doesn't have to. In fact, there was a point where they were up 40 points, and I was just wondering why Robbie Avila was still in the game. Because, you know, they've had issues last year, knock on wood, obviously, but why play with the risk when you're rolling a team the way that the Billikens did tonight against Bethune-Cookman? Speaking of records, there's a reason they rolled tonight, and it wasn't just because they played a perfect game. The shots were falling at an unbelievable rate. They were 1 3-pointer away from the program record for 3-pointers. They set that last year when they hit 18 early on in the season when that team was humming. They hit 17 tonight. They were on pace for a long time to break the record. They were 11 of 17 in the first half, so they were on pace for 22. They come up a little bit short with just 17 tonight, but I mean, with the 63%, I think it was in the first half from the floor, the SLU offense was absolutely incredible. We talk a lot about points per possession on this show because Josh Schertz and company talk about points per possession a lot when evaluating the Billikens. And in the first half, the Billikens, my apologies for covering the screen there. In the first half, the Billikens had a points per possession of 1.6 even. Again, anytime you're going over 1.4, that's essentially astronomical. They had a 1.6 even in the first half. They were over 1.4 in the second half. So it just a fantastic offensive game in every sense of the word for the Billikens. Before we get Bob Ramsey, we'll throw out some potential negatives because it's not always all sunshine and lollipops. Amari McCoughtry had a very strong start to the game. Unfortunately, I have to couch that by saying a very strong start to the game because Amari McCoughtry didn't have a great start. And there's some people out there in Billiken land who would call me a homer when it comes to Amari McCoughtry, and I'll put my hand up and say, yes, I am. I got some blinders when it comes to Amari because what he can do for this team and what he's done in so many games. But tonight, you know, he gets most of his scoring from the three-point line, which we all know is not Amari McCoughtry's game. And at one point in this game, he's 3 for 3 from deep, and he's 3 for 6 from the field, which means he's 0 for 3 from below the three-point line. So you want to see consistency in Amari McCautry's game. That was his thing last year. We'd have the big ups, we'd have the big downs. So you want to see consistency in Amari McCautry's game. So when people see tonight's game and they see a lack of him getting into the paint against a team that obviously wasn't doing a lot to stop the Billikens offense, I understand why people are going to be a little bit worried about what they're seeing from Amari McCautry. The 5 turnovers is going to jump out to a lot of people. Completely fair. He had 1 in the second half. That was arguably one of the worst turnovers we've seen from the Billikens. And this year, a lot of bad Billikens turnovers have been them trying crazy stuff that they simply don't need to try. This one, he just kind of brain farted in the middle of the court. And a Bethune-Cookman player just like reached around him and ripped it away from him and ran the other way. So the turnovers weren't great for Amari, but if you watch the first 10 minutes of this game, and again, this is going to sound like somebody who's biased, and again, I will admit that I am. If you watch the first 10 minutes of this game, Amari he's getting downhill, and then he's whipping passes all over the place. I mean, the amount of times that he just one-handed just gunned one, either from the middle of the court to the corner or from maybe like the slot to in a skip pass to the other side of the corner. I mean, he was whipping passes on the driving kick. Again, he wasn't actually doing the drive part as a finisher, but those first 10 minutes, he's driving, kicking exactly the way you want to see Amari McCautry do it. The problem, though, is that the pro comments, even for me, have to end probably around the 8 or 9 minute mark of the first half. When did he sub out? So Amari subs out at the 8 minute mark of the first half, and that was pretty much all he did in the first half, and it really wasn't that dominant. We talked about that small ball lineup of Amari McCautry. Sorry, he checks in for the last 4 minutes, and he's playing the small ball center. My apologies. And they go +2. But yeah, if you just look at Amari lineups, he didn't hurt them at all. And in this game, that's not saying anything. But he really just failed to affect the game in a really positive manner in the last 30 minutes of the game or so. Again, he centers the small ball combo, and we talked about that a lot in the last game. So we'll continue to keep talking about that topic. We saw the small ball group today of Jones, Sharma, Brown, Dunlap, and McCautry. Saw them for the final 4 minutes of the game. They only had a +2 differential, but that was also a part of the game when Schertz is screaming things like ball sticking and action. And I thought that was interesting because I thought the small ball lineup against San Francisco was one of the best ball-moving lineups we saw from the Billikens. I thought up until that point in the game where they go to the small ball lineup early in that game, the ball was sticking a lot. And so to hear Schertz, calling out the ball sticking and a lack of off-ball action from that 5-guard lineup, that was an interesting fact. The fact that they still went +2 in their 352 on the court to end the first half, they still went positive, is also an interesting wrinkle for the Billikens. At the same time, maybe if you're looking at the Billikens winning a 49-point game and saying, I don't know why a +2 shift is a positive. Is that not a negative? And that's fair. We're talking about a group that went +16 in 8 minutes against San Francisco, and the same group goes +2 in 4 minutes against a Bethune-Cookman team that you absolutely blow out. So I think there's some fair criticism for Amari's game tonight. He just gives you so much versatility, and I think if a couple of those early passes turned into, take his assist total from did he finish with 3? Take his assist total for his final numbers from 3 probably up till 5. And heck, let's just look at that right now. Amari McCautry finishes with 3 assists, and Amari McCautry had 3 assists. I want to say he picked up that 3rd assist at around the 17-minute mark in the second half. So he plays a good chunk of the second half from there on in. And so it's about the 15-minute mark of the second half. My apologies. So he doesn't really pick up another assist in the last 10 minutes of the game or so, and he doesn't really play the last 10 minutes of the game a lot in the last 10 minutes of the game or so. So I get the criticism around Amari McCautry, and in a game like this, I got to find something that isn't all positives, because I want to talk about some more positives with Bob Ramsey as we run through some of these numbers. Deion Brown, again, incredible, 16 points tonight. He was quiet in the first half of that San Francisco game, but I don't know what to say about Deion Brown at this point that I haven't already said. I mean, he has 2 beautiful post moves to score tonight. I mean, he pushes everything in transition. When he's the rebounder 6 or 7 times a night because he just skies for it, and then he brings down the court. He immediately pressures the team. I mean, he's one of the few guys on this Billikens team, or not one of the few guys, I should say. He's one of the guys on this team that can turn almost anything into a transition bucket. Like if you get a make against this Billiken team and Deion Brown's the person who pulls out of the hoop, if you don't get moved fast enough, they might still create a good look against you. But definitely every time Deion Brown pulls down a rebound, and again, right now it's around 5 or 6 times a game, every time Deion Brown pulls down a rebound, it feels like the Billikens get a transition chance out of that. And that's a big thing because we've seen games like the Stanford game where the Billikens failed to turn misses into easy makes on the other end. And that's why this offense can have days like this. That's why this offense has had, now for the first time in program history, 4 different 100-point games, because when they actually turn misses into transition opportunities, they're one of the best teams in the nation at actually scoring those transition opportunities. Now, I know transition and fast break numbers aren't the same thing, but when we're talking about transition, we can talk about the fast break numbers, and they are some of the best in the nation. Going into this game, the Billikens were looking at 19.7 fast break points per game. That puts them in the 99th percentile in college basketball. So they're one of the best teams once they actually get out and run. And they're, I think, in the 97th percentile in how much of their scoring per game actually comes from those fast break points. I think it's 23.7%, somewhere around that is what the amount of points they get from the fast break. So when you have a guy like Deion Brown, that rebounding and that mentality he has of always pushing it no matter what, it always makes things work. Speaking of always makes things work, let's talk about our good friends at DraftKings Sportsbook, where the crown is yours. They also are always making things work. In Missouri, they're making things work now if you're here in this state, because finally the DraftKings Sportsbook app is here. And it's America's top-rated sportsbook app, and it's live in your state. And you can make game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money line, props, and more, all from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. Missouri fans know game day, the tailgates, the noise, the passion. Now with DraftKings Sportsbook, you can bring that same energy to every snap, every touchdown, and every win. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense, just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code STL Sports. New Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code STL Sports. The crown is yours in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
And we're back here on the Billikens Central Postgame, and sitting down with me right now is the voice of the Billikens over on our good friend KMOX 104.1 and 1120. He is Bob Ramsey, and I'll just have you hold that little one.
Oh, look at this.
It's a tiny little one. We'll do it. We'll do it right. We're going to do it right to the lapel. It's a little magnet. So it sticks right there. Now we got Bob Ramsey. Just like, I know. Yeah, we're getting a little fancy here on the Billikens Central Postgame on STL Sports Central. Bob Ramsey joining us now, 112-53, your biggest takeaways from what was almost a record-setting game in a lot of ways.
Over the years, not just college games, high school games, whatever, when there's a blowout, you have a tendency to lose focus and play ugly basketball, just kind of throw it around the gym, play, I call it rec center basketball.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Run, shoot, and holler, and not pay attention to detail. And that leads to bad habits. And the Billikens didn't do that tonight. And I thought it was remarkable in a game that was an absolute blowout that they stayed focused start to finish.
Yeah, it really was fascinating. A lot of little things to pick away, but I mean, obviously the big things, one of the highest scoring games against a D1 team in the last 20 years. I think we pulled it back. 116 back in 1993 is the D1 record. Last time they scored 112 was 1995.
Wow.
They almost hit a program record in three-pointers as well. Just a fascinating night, but also there's some little things to pull away from this one. We see the small ball group go at the end of the first half, but then we get the max group in the second half. We had Jax Kerr, Paul Tieno, and Robbie Avila out on the floor all at the same time.
I looked up and I was stunned, and that's just a precursor to what you're going to see over the next few years with Jax Kerr. He's 6'11", and he really is a three-man.
Yeah.
And you kind of saw a little bit of that tonight. You saw him handling the ball. You saw him running the floor. And he's a freshman. He's just a kid. He's gonna figure it out, and he's going to keep getting better.
And all of this, I haven't got the chance to mention this, a 49-point win while missing one of the most dynamic players on the roster. Kellen Thames has been crucial, and he was sick, unfortunately, and didn't play tonight. We saw a lot of Cam Hudson early on. He's another freshman. We saw a lot of Jax Kerr, and the train just kept on moving.
Well, and that's and I think that is a look at what can happen over the course of the year. Illness, God forbid injuries, certainly God forbid serious injuries. But, a guy's going to have a cramp. He's going to have a sore back. He's going to, whatever. And to be able to not miss a beat, that's really impressive. The other thing, my other takeaway, Rock, tonight, and I talked with Coach Schertz about it, it's one thing for a team to share the ball. Hey, I better pass it to Rock or my butt's going to be on the bench. This team, in my view, exhibits joy in sharing the ball. They really have fun and enjoyment sharing the basketball with each other. It's pretty evident.
29 assists on 40 made shots. That is a ratio and a number that's going to make Josh Hurts happy every time.
Yeah, absolutely right. And here's one other thing, one other takeaway. And sometimes I'm pretty decent at reading lips. And in the handshake line, Reggie Theus and Coach Schertz shaking hands. And we'll take a second, maybe, if you want to go back and look. Theus told Coach Schertz that SLU was the best team they'd faced this year.
Okay, now I love that you brought this up because I had it. Let me grab it really quickly because
it's right there.
Oh yeah, the Bethune-Cookman. It's insane. The teams that the Bethune-Cookman has played this year: Auburn, Miami, Dayton, Indiana, and Missouri. No team beat them by 49 points.
Yeah, and now you can say, well, Reggie was just being nice. Well, I know Reggie. He is a very nice guy, but you don't have to say that.
Yes, he was also a pretty no shit basketball player.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
There's no reason for him to pump a coach's tires like that unless he actually believes it.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
So that was nice.
Great game overall. Something that really jumped out to me. We saw the first really big breakout game for Brady Dunlop. I loved what I saw from him. He was responsible for 15 of the Billikens' first 35 points, 9 on the floor.
I didn't realize that's
9
good.
On the floor, and then the 2 assists. Both of them were 3-point shots as well. So 15 of the first 35 points for Dunlap. He was incredible in that first half.
Somebody go back and look on the play-by-plays. I thought going back to the previous game, he made 2 threes. Did he make 4 in a row, counting the 2 games?
That's a really good point. Yeah. We'll
if not, it was really close to that.
Yes.
And when he heats up, he becomes that one of those other guys, along with Trey Green, Sharma, and we see that you have this many 3-point shooting weapons. Now, I don't care what team it is. Not everybody's going to be hot on a given night, but you see the potential of guys that can shoot threes and shoot them legitimately.
Yeah, and we got a comment here from Eddie Pavasic. He says, so great when a team doesn't just have a great record, but they are playing fun basketball while doing so. Again, 4th time they scored 100 points, all of them in this building. You don't even have to be a basketball fan at this point. If you enjoy burgers from Shake Shack, just make an investment and come to SLU games, because at this point, it's almost a guarantee that you're walking out of here with able to use your ticket as a coupon, because they just keep scoring over 100. They keep scoring 80 plus. And to his point, it's just, they're doing it in a fun way. I mean, like I was saying earlier, they're one of the best teams in college basketball in fast break points. Over 20, about 20 fast break points per game. They get out and run. Deion Brown's trying behind the back bounce passes. They're throwing alley-oops. It is a fun team to watch tonight.
Yeah, and the crowd that is here is really supportive, because you get here and you get caught up into it. I'd like to start selling the building out, and maybe as soon as Sunday. And I know some people are, well, it's not a marquee team. The schedule is what it is. Come enjoy your team.
Absolutely.
And this is a team, no matter what metrics you want to use or what rankings you want to use, this is at worst a top 50 team. And maybe it's going to be a lot better than that before the next few weeks are over.
That is Bob Ramsey. I'm Matthew Rocchio. The Billikens roll Bethune-Cookman 112-53 in this big win. They are back up on Sunday afternoon. They face off against New Hampshire here at Chaffetz Arena. It's a 2 p.m. tip-off, so you're going to be able to hear Bob Ramsey and the great Earl Austin Jr. starting at 1:45 over on the Mighty Mox 104.1. Rammer, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you, my friend.
Billikens win again. We will have a post-game for you on Sunday, but it will be brought to you not by either me or Rammer. I have an ambush game tonight. We're going to give Rammer the afternoon, or that day. Rammer has the afternoon off, So I believe it'll be Eric Sontag who will be bringing you the Billikens postgame on Sunday. It'll be a good game again. New Hampshire, 2 p.m. Billikens facing off here at Javens. Grab some tickets. The atmosphere here is incredible. And if you can't, make sure you watch that one again, 2 p.m. And you can catch the broadcast starting at 1:45 over at KMOX with our good friend Rammer and Earl Austin. For Bob Ramsey, for STL Sports Central, I'm Matthew Rocchio. This is the Billikens Central postgame. Have a great night, St. Louis.